Alright, so this is going to be the boxing that you'll end up receiving your Master Pro 44 spray gun in. This is the Ultra Series, which ends up coming with 3 additional air caps, then as well fan nozzles, and then as well your fluid needles or tips, whatever you prefer to call them. So factory, it comes with a 1.3 millimeter. Typically, you'll end up utilizing this with um, your base coats. Sometimes you'll end up utilizing with a sealer or your clear coats. Obviously, the lower the number, the finer the atomization is, the better results that you'll get in the end. In theory, it obviously depends on pressure, on air quality, on paint quality, on how you spray, temperature, humidity. All those play a variable inside of it. And we got a 1.4, 1.5, and a 1.8. So if we wanted to spray like a metallic flake or something upon such lines, or if we were doing a lot of primer and filler, we would probably be utilizing the 1.8 for that. And then obviously we would step down for the 1.5 and the 1.4 if we had a vehicle that we were blending a panel on or trying to color match a panel. For the texture, we would utilize varying on these tips. Obviously, again, with the 1.3, the finer atomization, it'll lay on there a lot more smoother onto the paint versus if you were to utilize a larger tip. But then again, if you are utilizing metallic paint, you have to be careful with this. Then as well, the type of clear coat that you're utilizing, if it's either a 2 or 4 part, if it's a Euro thick or a Euro standard, um, just kind of the thickness and how much of a reducer is added to the clear coat makes a big difference on that. So I'll stop talking because we'll get into the whole paint thing here later. I have a '04 Forester XT, converting all my STI stuff over, redoing the whole entire body, front to rear, everything from rebuilding the engine to painting the vehicle to replacing glass to redoing the interior, all the upholstery. Then as well some fabrication stuff and some tuning and the whole 9 yards. So anything and everything you want to know about a car within a detailed and a quality perspective, stay tuned and you'll be able to see a whole lot of quite some amazing things. So this one's an HVLP, high volume, low pressure. So the high volume actually means that the fan nozzle is going to be having a high amount of air coming out. So again, the high volume is a high volume of air coming out of the air nozzle. The low pressure is what it's applying. You can utilize this with a lower pressure system, so you don't have to have a bigger than 30 or 40 gallon air compressor to get this gun running. Its operating pressure, I believe it is around 26 psi. Just kind of block out a couple things. I'm pretty sure it's 26 psi's operating pressure. So you'll go ahead, open it up here from the top. First thing that you will end up seeing, all right, so first thing you'll end up seeing, you have your pressure regulator with gauge. This one seems to be a pretty fair quality. All this stuff is made in China, but everything pretty much in the world is made in China nowadays. Sadly, their production ability has far exceeded, and as well, the production costs exceeds what a lot of other countries can do. So, from first glimpse, the pressure regulator looks to be a pretty good unit. Has a swivel fit onto here, screw on the gun, and it does come with a air chuck fitting down here for the bottom. The regulator here on the side, I mean, it has quite a fair amount of resistance. It feels good, doesn't feel choppy or cheap. We'll obviously test this when we get it on the gun and have some shop air available. The next thing that this particular gun comes with is one of the master paint system adapters. This ends up threading onto the cup, or this ends up threading onto the gun, and then the cup will end up sitting on top there. So let's put these two items here off to the side. So next thing that we end up having in here is your paint cup. I can't remember the exact size of this. I believe it's right around 32 fluid ounces. It may actually be a little bit more than that, maybe close to 36. It is quite big. These do end up working and get the job done, but obviously, when you have a cap kind of like this, I mean, in my opinion, if you are spraying in tight, intricate areas around engine bays or around a wheel well of a fender or rocker panels, this may not be the best option because paint can end up leaking when you tip your gun and you go to spray and do these things. As well, a lot of people complain about having to clean them. There's not really anything special or too fancy about this. It's just an extruded piece of aluminum, threaded adapter on there. It has like a nylon bushing or washer in there. So you'll end up getting some reading material. This is the master paint system that I'm speaking about. If you guys want like part numbers or look at some of the different attachments, these are some of the things that it shows. I do like the 32 ounce paint cup due to the way that the measuring is done on it in the parts. I believe this one's the 20 ounce and this one's like a 12 or 13. You can actually buy this as a kit, and this is what I ended up buying. It comes with 6 of each of these. So obviously one of the actual housings, and then 6 of the upper caps, and then 6 of the disposable liners. These are a couple of the other series. They got the Master Pro 22, which is more of a smaller touch-up style gun. You can spray it for, like, let's say hypothetically a whole car, but it's going to take you a hell of a long time. You may have tiger striping, and the overall result's not going to be too good. So the step up from that is the 44 series. This is what we have here today. As said, comes stock with a 1.3 millimeter tip, 1 liter paint cup. It's gravity fed, works at 26 psi, and you see light to medium viscosity. So another reason why I went with the 44 over the 88, one, the price difference. This one's about $60 more. The tips are about an additional $10 more, so rather than 30, they're $40 each. Then as well, the sizing on them. So you can see this one, it comes with a 1.3, 1.4, and 1.8. This one comes with a 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, and 1.8. I know a lot of people are going to say that's not too much of a big difference. It just depends on your preference, your budget, your projects, or your job, whatever you're doing with it. If I had more money, I probably would have just bought that, but coming in almost $300 for just this gun kit, I'm plenty more than satisfied with that. I'll go into another video here at another time about the Develbis, the SATA, I believe the other one's the Technicata, and there's a couple other out there on the market. I think the Arrow, that they're pretty good guns. Well, they're actually really good guns if you get the genuine real ones. So as you can see, you have a matte finish on this. Looks to be like maybe a form of powder coating, or maybe even an enamel based paint that was applied on this. I have read reviews that some people say that this does chip off. I could see maybe in some areas you take certain parts off and it'll start from one area and work its way out. That typically happens, not a big deal. So first thing we're going to want to know is, how does the trigger feel? So as you guys know, with paint guns, hold the trigger down, you back this all the way out, till the handle's flush. You take it a turn in till it pushes up against the trigger, release, and you're on full flow. So the gun, it does have, that's your dead zone right there. So that's when you can just flow air. If you're just trying to flow some air, blow off the panel, get ready to spray, that's your preload. From there, this is our spray. And it has a fair bit of resistance. It does have a fair bit of resistance. The best way I could probably use an analogy, it's like if you had a plastic bag and let's say you were trying to pull through it with your finger. I mean, obviously, yeah, you'll be able to do it, but that's about the same amount of pressure that you have to put on this. Maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 pounds worth of pressure. So it's good. You got a lot of feedback and everything out of it. It's smooth, it's linear, it works out pretty well. That's really important for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. Um, so you have your air adjustment down here, you have your fluid flow down, adjustment down here, then you have your fan adjustment up here. The fan adjustment, we have, I don't know, I would probably say about 4 full turns in and out. And then obviously with the flow, we got that set where we want it. And the air, we have a fair bit of modulation. One thing that I see a lot of people complain about on most guns is the air regulator down here at the bottom. It'll just keep spinning and spinning, and it doesn't actually do anything. This one actually makes an engagement. It feels solid. All the end pieces here are just a, I don't know, machine cut aluminum. Same thing with our air horn or air cap. So one thing I would end up recommending is go through here with just a little bit of sandpaper or some Scotch-Brite or something. Just clean up those little bit of areas. There was 1 or 2 little burrs in there. Wasn't a big deal or anything. But as you can see, the inside of the cap's clean. You can see the holes on the actual air horn itself. And this is what the tip or the top of the cap looks like. So I was expecting the actual air holes to be smaller at the bottom, larger on the top, like I've seen on some guns. These seem to be about the same size, but again, in comparison to the Chinese ones, a lot of people complain that the air holes on the air horn is too small. So I don't think we have an issue there. Again, this is a factory 1.3 that comes with the gun itself. Just to disassemble it, you have your 2 pieces, your outer ring, your air horn, and then you have a retaining clip inside there. Pull it apart, clean it up, you're all good to go. Next thing we're going to take a look at is technically the diffuser or the atomizer. So see here on both sides we have 4 and 4, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12. So here in the center, we have approximately 12 holes, which should provide with good atomization, a high amount of airflow, again, implying the HVLP. If we go here in our bag, you'll end up seeing that you get 3 replacement gaskets, you get your filter screen, your wrench, you get your air chuck attachment, and you just get a little simple brush. A lot of people say the tips are really hard to take off on these. I want to do everything to be kind of careful just because. Okay, people aren't lying. There actually isn't too bad. It is on there, but it's not that bad. Just got to get it in the right angle because how small and kind of contorts this is. Kind of find it interesting. The tip has some blue dye on it, which I'm questioning if that's how they check to see if it's seated or not correctly, because I said it has a little bit of blue dye there on the tip. So again, furthermore, assembling this, take this upper section out here. So what the inside of it looks like. Now I know on some of the clone DeValvis, the GTI Pro lights, a lot of times this whole section will be filled in and people they'll end up using a Dremel to cut it out. There's a little bit of burrs here on the plastic, typical production I'd expect to see, but I'd maybe go through there with a little razor and just kind of score off them little side areas. Obviously you need to clean the gun before utilizing it. So here, so what we'll do, make a little daisy chain of our parts here. All right. So the next thing is our actual fluid tip. If we want, we'll back this all the way out. Spring pops out. Pull this straight back on and out. There you go. It's technically disassembled. The remainder of this, you don't need to take any of the other knobs or anything off. You would just go through, clean up the top here, clean through pretty much all the remaining areas here. Be gentle, blow it out very well. Let the gun maybe. The best way that I believe to probably end up cleaning this would either to be utilizing a pump aerosol can with your particular solvent, either if it be a wax and grease remover, an acetone, or a paint thinner, whatever you want to end up utilizing to clean it. I would take the gun, first set it in a bath of that stuff, get your brush it, get you some Q-tips, Q-tip this, clean all this stuff up, take it through another bath, and then possibly even rinsing it out with water, blow dry it very well, and then reassemble it. You'll be good to go. So again, here to reassemble it, we'll take our fluid tip, gently drop it down back in. We can put this back on. Go ahead and put this back on. We'll go ahead, screw this on. Tighten it down there. Take our air horn. There you go. And then here on the back, drop our spring in. This one does have a little nylon bit there on the back. Push down on it, thread it down in there. All nice and dandy. See how it stops there? We're gonna keep going. And now we got right there. Full flow. So my first impressions of the spray gun, again, shipped, I paid about $280 for it with the 3 additional fluid tips and cups and everything. So here's the 3 additional tips. Obviously we got 1.8, 1.5, 1.4, and then the 1.3 is already in it. Packaging looks good. No, I kind of took it out the opposite way, but I don't want to rip it all the way open. And this is a brand new one. It's smooth inside. This one doesn't need any polishing up or anything. And again, that's one thing that you'll end up seeing on a lot of the cheaper ones. The amount of actual airflow holes will be a lot more minimal than what this one particularly has. This one has been highly rated, reviewed, and mentioned, at least by people more in the professional industry of this. So I think it's definitely a good gun, worthwhile. If you guys are looking for a professional base on a budget, or you're just trying to get a good quality finish and you may not be as experienced, this is a perfect gun for you. It outperforms and it matches a lot of the $900 and $1,000 guns that are out there. So I'd recommend it. And